Tobin, Chief Operating Officer for Young Investor Society, and I'm super excited to be part of World Unity Week 2022. I wanted to start off a little bit by saying that only 7 states in the US require a standalone personal finance course for students to take before graduating high school. Unfortunately, I live in California and we are not part of that standalone personal finance program. So my financial literacy education exposure as a high school student was literally a budgeting worksheet that I was given as part of my economics course. I vaguely remember budgeting for rent and utilities and those kinds of important things, car payments and such, but not really much else during my high school years. I went to a Title I high school, so we didn't have some of these programs that you see in other schools, entrepreneurship programs, business programs, and those types of things were unavailable to me in high school. We actually didn't even have an SAT prep program at my school. I had to actually drive 2 cities over to take my SATs, and therefore I didn't have some of the PSAT prep course that a lot of other students were exposed to. And that's just from being in a Title I school. We had, my graduating class was over 2,000 students. So I think when the numbers are that high, I think financial literacy and other enrichment programs tends to fall through the cracks. Like I said, my school was one of the schools that didn't have some of these enrichment programs, which I think are so important for all high school students to be a part of. And a lot of people think that financial literacy should really be taught in the home. That wasn't my experience growing up. I watched my mother cash her checks at the local convenience store. Her version of having a savings account was how much cash she can stock in her sock drawer. So I really didn't have any kind of financial awareness or banking until I was an adult. I was probably 18 years old before I opened up my first checking account at a local financial institution. I remember applying for a credit card very young, at like the minute I turned 18, because I knew that I needed to start establishing credit. I knew that that was going to be important someday. Unfortunately, when I applied for my first credit card, my limit was, I believe, like $500 as a teenager just getting started in the credit world. And I didn't know what to do once I had reached the limit to that. When I did ask a family member, what happens after you reach your limit, they suggested that I just apply for another card. And so I did, and I maxed that one out too. And so that was kind of my financial literacy, was just a learning opportunity. I made mistakes along the way, and it wasn't until I was in my 20s, which I realized that I really needed to buckle down and learn some of these life skills that other people had been using or had learned their entire life that I did not get the opportunity to learn. As an adult in my 20s, I was able to start to save and realize, all of the things that people have to do as an adult, pay rent, utilities, taxes, those kinds of things I kind of had to learn on my own. And unfortunately, made a lot of mistakes along the way as well. So I believe that financial literacy is super important to teach at a very young age. I think, even elementary, middle school students can start to learn the basics of money and how that works. I think we live in a society where we don't like to talk about money, and money's kind of always been one of those things where people don't like to talk about it. And the misconception is that only wealthy people have financial literacy skills and are able to invest and grow wealth. And I think that's a huge misconception. In my program at Young Investor Society, we believe that financial literacy is for everyone, no matter where they come from, their socioeconomic status, race, religion, creed. Everyone has the access to financial literacy through our program. We recently 2 years ago started our Access Initiative, which means we provide access to free quality financial literacy education in all Title I high schools. This for us is for me especially, is one of my passions because I didn't have a financial literacy program in my high school, and I had to learn the hard way. And I don't believe that students should have to do that. They should have to access to basic financial literacy. Anything from, from earning money to saving money to budgeting, career exploration, all these things are available to students for free through our program. And I think that teachers really appreciate our turnkey curriculum as well as students. Our model for Young Investor Society pre-COVID was really heavily based in an after-school setting. So similar to some of these other enrichment programs at the high schools, Young Investor Society was an after-school program once a week for about 45 minutes to 60 minutes. A teacher would allow students to meet in a classroom in a formalized setting, and then the students would lead the club. All of our materials and resources are available online. The student literally picks up the curriculum. Every unit is comprised of 3 to 4 lessons, and every lesson has a YouTube video that teaches the concepts to the students. The feedback that we've heard from students and teachers is that these videos are invaluable. I have some teachers who don't have a background in finance. They're English teachers or social studies teachers, and that really isn't in their wheelhouse. So the instructional videos are key for some of these teachers, as well as students who want to work on the curriculum independently, which we've seen a huge explosion during COVID with students who were just looking for resources, looking for those financial literacy programs that they can do on their own, and found Young Investor Society. So we've actually increased our numbers tremendously over the past few years. I believe we went from 500 schools pre-COVID to now close to 1,400 schools. We are currently in 44 states and 56 countries across the world. And we are so excited to be able to offer our program free to students and teachers. We have corporate sponsors who fund our organization, as well as private donors who allow us to continue our work, to continue to provide financial literacy for students and teachers. I also believe that financial literacy is important, not just for students, but also for adults. We find adults going out into the world, new college students who don't understand the difference between a subsidized loan and a subsidized loan and an unsubsidized loan for their student loans. So those kind of basics in education are super important for students. We also believe that financial literacy isn't for the wealthy. Investing is not limited to your income. We have what's called the $1 a day challenge, where we challenge students to save $1 a day in a personal brokerage account. $1 a day may not seem like much, but for a 15-year-old who's saving $1 a day for over the course of 50 years, that money is millions of dollars in their retirement account. So it makes a huge difference when students understand compound interest and what that looks like and how they can build wealth over this long term. We really like to teach a long-term investment strategy for kids. We don't have any of these simulators that make the kids trade or invest over the course of 3 months to see who wins or who accrues the most amount of wealth. We really teach a long-term investment strategy because we truly believe that these kids have so much time on their hands to invest and to let their money compound and work for them. We also, not only do we teach students personal finance, but also have a whole course in investing and getting started and what that looks like for our students. We have 8 units total where students can learn how to how to analyze companies, what makes a good investment, what makes a company a great investment, and learning to speak the language of finance, and all of those things that students need to learn to make sound decisions when they do start investing. One of the great things that we have an opportunity for our students to do is we recently partnered with our Learn and Earn app company, which basically provides a platform for students where they will earn money by learning personal finance lessons. So every lesson that's completed in the app, the students earn anywhere from $1 to $2 per lesson. This money is put into a personal brokerage account for the student. The student has a parent who oversees the account, and the parent allows them to make purchases and trades through the app. But this is real money that the students can start earning and saving for retirement, and super exciting for our students, especially our in our Access initiative, because money is one of those things where if students don't have a job or students aren't consistently earning money, it's hard to start investing. So things like being able to earn money through learning lessons is really key to get them interested and started in the investment world. So we've seen some success using our Learn and Earn app. It's also great because the students get to pick 10 stocks that they'd like to invest in. So it's very personal to the students. We have students who are very interested in some of these, the cool stocks, right? The Tesla, the Facebook, Google, all of these things that students hear, out in the world and would like to have a part of. And luckily, with the Learn and Earn app, they can buy $1 worth of Tesla. They can buy $5 of Google. It's very easily accessible to these students. So it's not just for the wealthy. It's really scaled down so that students can buy fractional shares of stocks. And so Learn and Earn is a great app that we use for that. Another one is Stockpile. Stockpile is one of our sponsors for our Start Investing Now program, which allows us to give students a $100 gift card from Stockpile every month to start their investment journey. Stockpile is a really great way to get interested. It's an easy to use app. Again, it's fractional shares where you're buying, $10 of Tesla to start out with. So all of the major stocks are available on Stockpile as well. So that's a really great way to get students excited about stocks and learning how to invest and being able to really track with those investments over the course of a few years. We really try to teach a long-term approach to investing. We don't want students to buy a stock that they wouldn't hold for 10 years. And that's just comes from our teachings. We're very heavily involved in Warren Buffett's strategy, so that long-term value investing principles are what we cater to. And I just want to continue to let everyone know that our program is completely free for students and teachers. All of our lessons are available to students, teachers, parents, anyone who's interested in learning about financial literacy and really wants to have those basic fundamentals. We start with a money skills boot camp, which is a 10-hour course in personal finance, which students will learn everything from earning money, saving money, as well as some career exploration. We partnered with Gladio for career exploration, which is a phenomenal tool where students can learn the gamut of opportunities out there in any industry. Students can learn, of course, about the finance industry, but as well as healthcare and other industries as well, engineering, entrepreneurship. All of these things are available on the Gladio platform. And it's a really great way for students to start just exploring different career options. We have noticed that every career that students select have a video that goes along with it, where it's the person in that career doing an interview and letting students know what it's like to be in that career, what education they might need to be in that career field. Even salary ranges are available for all of the different careers. So it's a really great tool. We're super excited to have them as a partner for our Money Skills Bootcamp. And that's also just one of the lessons available in our curriculum portfolio. So along those lines, we also have advanced investing for students who already have those basic fundamentals pretty much down. And our advanced investing, again, teaches students how to work through the curriculum, analyze stocks, be able to, at the end of the course, be able to analyze a company and complete a stock pitch report on that company. We do have a stock pitch competition, which is one of our flagship events for students to enter throughout the year. And our stock pitch competition starts out with local state events. All of the entries are virtual via YouTube. They basically film themselves doing their 10-minute pitch on a company. All of the videos are submitted and we send them out to a panel of industry professionals who grade and score the stock pitches. And then the winners of the state go to our regionals. And our regionals, students that win the regionals go on to our global stock pitch competition. This year, our global stock pitch competition was in Salt Lake City. It was sponsored by Grandeur Peak Global Advisors, as well as the University of Utah. And so the kids all flew out to do their presentations, and we had a great 2 days doing investment workshops with the kids and really being able to hone their skills. Not only does it teach them how to analyze a company, but they also have those platform skills that every student needs to be able to just. Public speaking is one of those things where it's like financial literacy, not really taught in the schools. So it's one of those things where we're glad to teach students how to present themselves well and be able to communicate effectively to a panel of industry professionals who are able to mentor these students throughout the process. So that's a really great program that we have that's available as well to all of our students. And along those lines, we have also our $1 a day challenge. Like I had mentioned before, the $1 a day challenge is challenges the students to save $1 a day in a personal brokerage account. But the other side of that is we have students write a one-page essay on a specific topic throughout the year. The essay changes annually, and this past year, the essay topic was, if you inherited $1 million from a distant relative, how would you spend that money if you could not use those funds for yourself? So what would you do with the funds if you couldn't use them? And we've had students write about anything and everything. They would start their own nonprofit organization. They would give the money to local charity. They would help build homes for the homeless. I mean, we've had students be really creative in their writings, and every year we select 100 students to do a $1 a day scholarship match, which basically means if the students can save $365 if they applied in the fall, then we will match them at the end of the year, that $365, just to encourage them to continue to save and invest and support them through their investment journey. I want to just wrap up by saying that financial literacy is so important to not only our students, but this new generation growing up. Sadly, only 2/3 of high school students, fail a personal finance test during high school. It's a tragedy that we don't have more formalized personal finance education in schools. I know there's some states that are trying to get their state legislature to pass a bill stating that you need at least one course in personal finance to graduate high school, which I fully support because I believe it's so important for students to have just those basic fundamentals that we use every day in our daily lives. I know that I haven't solved a quadratic equation today that I learned how to do in high school, but you know what I did have to do today? I did have to look at my bank account, and I did have to, balance my checkbook and all of those things that people do on a daily basis. And I think it's critical that we teach personal finance and financial literacy to these students. And don't let them replicate the same mistakes that most of us as adults have made with credit and those kinds of things that really limit our ability to move forward. Yeah. So I think it's super important for students to learn personal finance and financial literacy. I'm super excited to be part of World Unity Week, and I hope that you guys can join me in celebrating everyone who teaches life skills, because I think it's such a huge part of where we're going and being able to empower our students for the future.